Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, Mailbag Day New Year's Edition. We'll take a look at some of the highlights of 2010, plus answer a couple of your letters. The West Wing was a busy place to be in 2010.
I think it's fair to say that this has been the most productive post-election period we've had in decades. And it comes on the heels of the most productive 2 years that we've had in generations.
The highlights included passing and signing historic healthcare reform legislation, repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, enacting Wall Street reform, ending the combat mission in Iraq, extending tax cuts for middle-class Americans and small businesses, negotiating a strategic nuclear arms treaty with Russia, and appointing Elena Kagan to the Supreme Court. The president also signed into law the CALM Act, legislation requiring that the volume of television commercials be the same as the programs they run with.
When I'm watching the game, I don't want those ads coming on loud.
That's right.
I don't want to have to pick up the clicker. You know, this is practical.
When have we
Makes
done?
a difference right away.
It was
For
one
couch
page.
potatoes. When
That's
is
what
the
I'm-
last
and look at this. This is all
It was a
this.
one-page bill.
One-page bill.
President.
That's
And
what
then
I'm saying.
the Senate did turn it into almost
In-
2 pages.
We do run on.
That's funny.
Our first letter comes from a student in North Carolina. He asks, "Dear Mr. President, how many chimneys are in the White House? I asked that one time and it never got answered. Anyway, I hope you have a good Christmas." Well, I'm not sure what happened that one time you asked, but this time we pose the question to Bill Allman, the White House curator in the diplomatic reception room. How about it, Bill?
If you were to stand on Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the front side of the White House, and looked up at the roof line, you'd see 12 chimneys. The White House, the original White House, the building that was opened in 1800 for President John Adams, has 12 chimney stacks on top of the roof. They once served fireplaces in almost every room in the house because that was the only way the house could be heated for the first 40 years or so that presidents and first ladies lived here. The office spaces that are in the West Wing, where the president has his Oval Office, has a number of fireplaces in that wing and would have chimneys on the roof of that building as well. The fireplace actually that's behind me is the location of where President Franklin Roosevelt delivered his famous group of what they called the fireside chats during the Depression in the 1930s. And there was a large desk here with radio microphones on it. And he conversed with the nation about how things were going to get better. And it's a frequent setting for President Obama as well to do his weekly address to the nation.
With the first family gone for the holidays, the question of whether Santa could fit down any of these 12 chimneys remains unanswered. Our second letter comes from Tisha Baisden in Lewis Center, Ohio. She writes, "Dear Mr. President, I was wondering, why is there no forgiveness of student loans? I make decent money, but with being a single mother with 4 children, times are tough. I pay what I can, but the interest keeps the loan going up because I cannot pay what I'm supposed to pay." To answer this question, we tracked down the President's Deputy Assistant for Domestic Policy, Heather Higginbottom.
Thank you for writing, Tisha. My name is Heather Higginbottom, and I'm the Deputy Director of the White House Domestic Policy Council. President Obama is committed to ensuring that college is affordable. In fact, one of the first goals he set as president was to return America to the world leader in the proportion of college graduates by 2020. And to meet that goal, we have to ensure that more Americans can attend, complete, and afford college. Now, in your situation, there are a couple of things that could help right away. First, you might want to look into consolidating your federal loans, which will allow you to get a lower interest rate and keep that steady over time. In addition, you may want to look into the income-based loan repayment program. Now, what that does is say that you just spend a lower proportion of your discretionary income every month for your college loans. Now, you mentioned in your letter that you have 4 children, and the Obama administration is committed to ensuring that all of your children can afford to attend college. We've taken several steps already, including expanding and increasing the amount of the Pell Grant, which is a grant that goes to lower-income families and students. In addition, we've created a new tax credit called the American Opportunity Tax Credit. This is worth $2,500 a year for each student attending college. That's up to $10,000 over 4 years. We've also expanded the income-based repayment program that I mentioned. When that goes into effect in 2014, graduates will only have to pay back 10% of their discretionary income each month on their student loans. Thanks so much for writing, Tisha, and Happy New Year.
To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
You guys having one? Everybody, last chance. No?
Are you buying?
Yes. I'm fired.